founder wrote something online that probably hit harder than he meant it to. He built a business with his wife over 5 years. They worked hard, they grew it, and they had just moved into a bigger office for the next stage of growth. Then, 2 weeks later, she left the marriage. Now, he's trying to do both jobs: carry the business, carry the grief, and figure out whether he should sell everything, buy a lake house, and walk away. That thought is the part that stuck with me. He wanted to sell everything. A lot of founders are closer to that thought than they want to admit. Maybe they're not saying it out loud yet. Maybe the marriage is still intact. Maybe the business still looks fine from the outside. Still, the cost is there. They can't switch off. Their family gets the distracted version of them. Their weeks stay full, but the work that would actually make life better just keeps slipping. They try to rest, but never really feel off. And every so often, a quiet thought shows up. I want out. That is why this founder's post matters. It is one man's story, but it points to something a lot of business owners are carrying in private. What stood out to me is that he does not sound like a man who simply wants retirement. He sounds divided. One part of him still wants to build. You could hear it in the way he talks about not being the retiring type. That part still wants purpose, movement, and something to grow. Another part of him sounds worn down enough that selling the business feels like relief. That part wants rest, space, family, peace, and less weight on his chest every day. When those parts get pulled far enough apart, the founder starts living in a tug of war. He works, but the work feels heavier than it used to. He steps away, but his head stays at work. He tries to rest, but the business follows him into the evening anyway. Then, the tired part starts reaching for the biggest escape hatch it can imagine. Sell it, leave, disappear for a while, start over somewhere quiet. That kind of thought does not always mean the founder truly wants to quit. Sometimes it means one part of him has been ignored for so long that is finally forcing the conversation. That is the deeper thing I think a lot of people miss in stories like this. They look at the outside situation and assume the whole issue is workload. The outside situation matters. The inside split matters too. The business part says, keep going, hold it together, don't drop the ball. The rest and family part says, I'm tired of being sacrificed for this. I need room. I need some of my life back. The grieving part says, I can't carry this and act normal at the same time. When those parts are all talking at once, even simple decisions start feeling heavy. If this kind of breakdown helps you see your own business more clearly, like the video and subscribe. I'm going to keep doing these founder story breakdowns because a lot of people are carrying more than they know how to name. So, here's where it gets expensive. This founder did not just lose a spouse in his personal life, he lost a working partner inside the business. That means he lost a person and a whole hidden system at the same time. He even says he hired someone, but the new person does not replace the quality and quantity of work his wife had been doing. See, there's a huge clue. A lot of founders expect a hire to replace the visible work. What they miss is the invisible load. The context, the judgment, the history, the ownership, all the little things two people built together over years that never got written down. So now this guy's dealing with grief on one side and hidden dependency on the other. His business still leans on him too hard. His inner life is already stretched thin, and he's trying to make a giant life decision from inside that pressure. Anybody in that spot would start fantasizing about escape. That part makes complete sense. The part I would want him to look at more carefully is this. Which part of him wants out? Is it the tired part that needs relief so badly he wants to burn the whole thing down just to feel safe again? Is it the grieving part that wants the pressure to stop for a while? Is it the rest and family part that has been pushed aside for too long and is now done cooperating? Or is it the builder part saying, I still want to build, just not like this anymore? Those are different voices and they need different things. If you can't tell them apart, then every option starts looking muddy. He may think he needs a total exit, when what he actually needs is relief, structure, and a better agreement between the parts of him that want different things. That is why I would not rush him toward a huge decision. I would have him slow down long enough to hear what each part is trying to protect. The business part is usually trying to protect momentum, identity, and the fear of losing what got built. The rest of family part is usually trying to protect health, presence, peace, and the parts of life that have been getting the scraps. The grieving part is usually trying to protect him from carrying too much pain while pretending he's fine. Once you can hear those parts clearly, the next move gets cleaner. And this is where the business side comes back in, because the outside fix still matters. You can't talk a founder out of burnout while the business keeps routing everything back through him. That is why this founder story is bigger than his marriage falling apart. It is also about a business that depended on a small number of people carrying too much of the load. The moment one key person left, the pressure collapsed onto him. A lot of founders are living with that same kind of fragility right now. One person leaves, one team member gets sick, one client situation goes sideways, one stretch of personal stress hits. Then everything starts sliding because too much of the business still lives inside the founder's head. That is where systems matter. That is where delegation matters. That is where standardizing repeated work matters. That is where decision rights matter. Still, even that is only part of it. Because if the founder is internally split, he will only rebuild the same trap even after help arrives. He will keep taking things back. He'll keep checking everything. He'll keep holding the final decision. He'll keep expecting a normal hire to perform like a co-founder. He'll keep telling himself it is easier to do it himself. That is not only an operations issue. A lot of the time, that is a parts issue. The business part does not feel safe letting go. The tired part resents carrying it. The founder swings between control and escape. That is a brutal loop, and you can feel that loop inside this post. He is not only overwhelmed, he sounds pulled apart. So if I were talking directly to him, I would say this. Before you decide whether to sell the business, figure out what your inner team is actually asking for. Does your rest and family part need stronger boundaries so it stops trying to kill the whole business just to get relief? Does your business part need a cleaner delegation structure so it can trust the company without clinging to every task? Does your grieving part need room to breathe before you make a permanent move in a temporary storm? That is where I would start. Then I would move to the outside. What work only lives in your head? What decisions still come back to you by default? Where are you expecting a hire to carry co-founder level weight? What repeated work still has no clear handoff? What keeps dragging you back into firefighter mode? Those questions matter because this founder does not need more guilt. He needs breathing room. He needs a business that asks less of him. He needs parts of himself that are no longer fighting the same war every day. And for everyone watching, this is worth taking personally. You do not need to be in his exact situation to see yourself in the pattern. Maybe your spouse has not left. Maybe your team is still there. Maybe your business still looks healthy from the outside. Still, If your family gets a distracted version of you, if your mind never really clocks out, if you keep fantasizing about disappearing for a while, and if your week stays full but your real work keeps getting shoved aside, there's a cost building underneath that. A lot of founders wait until life forces the conversation. That is usually the expensive version. A better move is to catch the split earlier. Catch the point where the business part and the rest of life part are starting to pull against each other. Catch the point where the company still depends too much on your memory, your judgment, your presence, and your nervous system. Catch it before "I need a break" turns into "I want out." If this hit close to home, take the free Founder Cost of Success audit in the description or pinned comment. It will show you where your business is costing you too much in time, stress, and dependency, and it will give you something practical you can do this week to start fixing it. That way, you don't walk away with a heavy truth and no first move.